All right, folks, welcome into another episode of The Lab presented by Wolverine. And yes, it is tough times right now. It is challenging times. You know what might cheer you up? I got to do it. I got to do it. Get a nice flannel from Wolverine. Head over to wolverine.com. I've been rocking mine. It's fall. I love flannel season. It cheers me up. I'm just trying to offer and give a shout out to our sponsor, Wolverine. Wolverine.com. Go get you some clothes. Still support the boys. Support the boys. So thanks to Wolverine for sponsoring this episode. Just want to do a review. Let's check in. It's the bye week, coming off the tough loss to Washington. And let's start by acknowledging and giving credit to Washington's staff. Jed Fish, defensive coordinator Steve Belichick called a great game. I mean, I'd say Michigan has more star power, certainly more star power than Washington's defense. But Steve Belichick has that unit playing as one, and it's really, really impressive. They made the necessary adjustments when Tuttle came in, and there was some life. Jed Fish, as a play caller and as a head coach, great job. They were 15th in the conference in penalties per game and penalty yards per game coming into that matchup. They had 2 penalties for 20 yards. Progress. Also, his play calling and scheme was key, which we'll talk about in a second. Michigan's defensive line dominated. Washington's offensive line, in terms of pass pro grade, was a 31 out of 100. So Michigan won, but Jed schemed open quick passes. Will Rogers had an average time to throw of 2.15 seconds. Ball is out quick. Like that's understanding where you are. And I start this show off by saying this. It's a good chance to just check in. I called Washington's opener versus Weber State. So I'm talking to Jed Fish. And one thing that came up in the meeting for him is he said at Arizona, he had to find out who he was as a coach. Like he's become a better coach in time. His first year, he's talking about, I learned this from Jim Harbaugh and this from Bill Belichick and this from Steve Spurrier. And he's coached all across the NFL and coached under some great minds. And early on, it was about what he had learned from others. Now, Jed is very comfortable with who he is as a head coach, and he knows who he wants to be. And I think it's fair that that's where we're at with this staff and with Sherrone as well. Guys, this is year one. He lost everybody, lost everyone. The standard should always remain high. It's not to say that you feel good about a loss. It's not to justify it and pretend it's nothing. The standard should always remain high. This is Michigan, for God's sakes. But it's also year one. And Sherrone will get better with time, as will this team. Now we could talk about, let's start with, where should we start? A lot to start here. We'll start with the offense. We'll start with the quarterback. It's hard to win when you are rotating and playing like this, where it's Davis Warren, then it's Alex Orji, then it's Jack Tuttle. And if you think about this, each week you're supposed to get better, right? Like better, what Jim Harbaugh say, better today than yesterday, better tomorrow than today. Like you're supposed to get better. Here's the problem with the rotating of quarterbacks. There is one playbook for Davis Warren. There's another playbook for Alex Orji. And then there's a third playbook for Jack Tuttle. So each guy has their own playbook. But the other 10 guys are practicing this playbook one week, Orji's playbook another week, and then Tuttle's playbook another week. So you're getting better in a segmented way. You're not getting better at the general offense every week because it's changing. That's kind of, I think that's a thing that's holding this team back. Clearly it's holding a team back. And I can contrast, Washington. There was plenty of times in the game where things felt very easy for Washington. Very easy, and that's coaching. The trick play, bringing in your backup quarterback, throwing it to Damon Williams, sending Will Rogers down the seam, and then across the field to Cameron Davis. The double move to start the game. Like Jed called a great game, and he had a great game plan, and the team executed. Right now, what's easy about Michigan's offense? There's nothing easy about this offense. That's the thing that has to be addressed here. you football's hard even when it's easy, if that makes sense. How can this staff and Kirk Campbell and the receiver room, how can they find a way to make this easier? I don't have the answer, Frank. I don't know. But that's the question that you're thinking about on this week here. Right now, statistics do tell a story. Someone in the wide receiver room has to step up from a leadership standpoint. Coaches can take you to the water, but it's on you to grow. Like I can tell you about my own example. Jim Harbaugh comes in 2015. I have a great spring, and Jay Harbaugh pulls me into his office and he says, "Hey, great spring." He's like, "But if you want to be really special, like you have to improve contested catches." And he gave me all the data and said 50-50 balls, the best make it 65-35. Okay, so he told me what I needed to do. So all summer I hit the jugs. I not just hit the jugs, I'd have a friend come and hold me and push me and grab my arms and distract me. And I became good at contested catches. Right now, there has to be, and again, I have no data. I'm not talking to the receivers and I'm not talking to the staff about this. But right now, the question is what does each receiver do on an individual basis? How can we utilize that? And where can we see the most improvement over this week of practice and the following week of game prep? Amarion Walker, great to see. Freaky athlete. We've known that for years. Tyler Morris has shown some special things. We obviously know Frederick Moore and Samaj Morgan, but it somehow those guys have to get involved. And it's not just them. It's not just the quarterback. It's not just the head coach or the play caller. It's everybody. It's everybody. That's where we're at. It's everyone right now. It's the good thing is it's no one man. The bad thing is this isn't like you fix this one thing and suddenly you're good, right? It's going to take everybody. The offensive line losing Miles Hinton, some of the injuries at the center position. This has been the standard of Michigan football. And I look at the turnovers on the season and I say the offensive line, they play a big part in these turnovers. You know, again, I like the standard in Michigan should always be to say, we do not accept getting our quarterback hit. We do not accept getting beat up front. This is Michigan. This is Michigan. So it's at some point a point of pride, for these guys to figure this out and to come out to practice early and to stay after practice late. And for me, I think about, the very first detail, like what you can do is boil this down to the simplest thing. When you get into your stance, anticipate the snap count and then 1-2 steps and then your punch follows. Right? Like boil it down, get it to its simplest possible outcome. I think that's most of it offensively. Finding ways we need to, Michigan needs to find ways to make this easier, find ways to be much more complimentary. Duh, obvious. That's not a genius take, but it has to happen. And across the board, we need to see clear improvement up front. I would even include the running backs in terms of pass protection from an assignment standpoint, and then the receivers. I don't know what practice looks like. So, somewhere the confidence has to grow for something to change. Right now, there are 5 Big Ten receivers that have more catches than all of Michigan wide receivers combined on the season. 15 different Big Ten receivers have more receiving yards than all of Michigan wide receivers combined on the season. And 14 have more receiving touchdowns than, and this is from Scott Bell, SBell021 on Twitter. Good follow. Like everyone has some accountability in that. This is Michigan. The NIL money is pouring in, hey, listen, we got to get production. And it's a little bit from everybody. I think the tight ends are fine. Max Bredesen is the heartbeat of the team. Colston Loveland, the best tight end in college football. Marlon Klein looks like he's going to be special. I love watching the running backs run. Takes everybody. What's really concerning right now is Michigan. It's the defense. Man, if you told me there's 3, I could tell you now there's 3 first rounders across the defensive line. Kenneth Grant, Mason Graham, and now Josiah Stewart. 3 first rounders. Will Johnson is a first rounder. Um, right now, Michigan has the Big Ten's worst passing offense and the 129th passing offense in the country. Okay. But its passing defense is 16th out of 18 in the Big Ten and 114th nationally. Again, that's from Scott Bell. From a talent standpoint, this that doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make any sense to me. And the Washington game is a great example because I don't know. I'll just tell you what I see. Okay. I see athletes that are playing slow, and the only thing I can assume is because they're thinking too much, or they're unclear on their assignment, or they're unclear on the checks and balances, or the adjustments post snap. The linebackers, I think there's more in there. They seem to me to be thinking, and it's causing them to miss tackles. The secondary tackling has been an issue and was an issue once again in this game. Uh, you have to have swagger and confidence to be an elite secondary, and I think right now the guys are thinking a little too much. Again, I don't. This is my observation. Uh, Washington did a great job again of scheming easy passes and easy completions, and I said that stat to open that Will Rogers got the ball out in 2.15 seconds on average, and Michigan's defensive line dominated, forcing Washington's offensive line to have a 31% passing grade. So me logically is saying need to play tighter coverage at the line of scrimmage. Press. You don't need a full press, but you can press bail because you need to present the picture to opposing quarterbacks that there's no space on the field. There was far too often third down or whatever situations where it just felt like there was space and space after the missed tackles as well. With how good your defensive line is playing, there's adjustments I think that need to be made or attempted. Again, I look at Steve Belichick for Washington. I thought he made great adjustments, and the defense is playing as one unit. Like you put them on a string where all 11 guys are doing their singular job, but they're aware of the other 10 around them, and they're playing as one unit. Gap sound defense, tackle well, sound coverage, cover the field, the width and the length. Wink's been doing this for a long, long time. He's seen a lot of football. So I think this week is important for him and for the staff and for the defense as a whole, a gut check time. They have to figure out who they want to be this year, And this is the world of social media, and there's drama. Obviously, it's disappointing. I don't need to say that. They know it. They feel it. But something has to change here. And I don't think they have to play like the number one defense in the country, but it's fair to say they have to play to the standard that they're capable of, and they haven't been doing that right now. Tackling, have to tackle better. Have to tackle better. Awareness of scheme. I don't know if this is simplifying the scheme or communicating better or cutting the playbook in half. Play faster mentally and play as one. You know, jerseys pursuing and flying to the football. Play as one unit. That's what made them so special these past 3 years. Is it was a shell of one unit, and I've yet to see that. Third down defense is concerning, and like I don't have the tendency report in front of me. So that's what these weeks are for. It's a chance to catch your breath and look at the tendency report and start to make some adjustments because whatever's happening right now isn't working. I think the coverage is far too soft in terms of like pre-snap alignment, far too often in the games for how good your defensive line is. So it's what I see. It's what I see. I'm not saying Michigan's going to suddenly completely turn to a 180 and make the Big Ten championship and win out. Should be their goal. But and here's another point, guys, is not only did Michigan lose talent last year and coaching, they lost leadership. Jim Harbaugh, obviously a great leader, Ben Herbert, a great leader, Mikey Sainristil, Blake Corum, JJ McCarthy, Roman Wilson, Cornelius Johnson, Zach Zinner, Trevor Keegan, bing, 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 down the line, Junior Colson, Michael Barrett, go down the line. They lost leadership. Chris Jenkins. So this is when leadership is called upon. This is when leadership is called upon by action first, loving up on one another, love up on one another in the meetings, and then go play pissed off because you know that you're not playing to your standard. Everything now from here on out is a 1-game season on a day-to-day basis, on a drill-to-drill basis. After warm-ups, when you go through your tackling drills, the utmost laser focus and let it translate into your play on the weekends. This team is much better than what they've been playing. Much better. They're capable of more. We can hold them to that. So that's what I'm looking forward to seeing. Down the stretch of the season. To me, it's Jack Tuttle's job now. He's the quarterback going forward. Have to take care of the football, Tuttle. Have to take care of the football. Offensive line have to protect and give him a chance. And start to play your brand of football, baby. Start to play your brand of football. I think they're capable. So that in mind, just it's fun hanging out with you guys. It's fun hanging out with you guys. Pop some questions down in the comments below. I'm still working on. We're trying to figure out the legality of how to do the pass pro with the running backs. I know you guys are really excited about that, so we're working on it. It will come, hopefully sooner than later. But let me know any questions you have down in the comments. Maybe I'll do another video on them in a separate video, or I'll answer them on my computer. And again, shout out to Wolverine. I don't know if you guys got some Wolverine gear, please let us know in the comments. What you've been rocking. Is it the flannel? They got some great hats. Obviously, the work boots. It's that time of year where the boots are coming back out. And head over to their social media as well as UMich Football. They've been posting. Colston's been posting. They've done some sweet content and interview style content with the players. It's a chance to get to see another side of those guys. So go over to the Instagram and check that out. So thank you to Wolverine. Thank you guys to our viewers. I appreciate you tuning in. Would love to know what you think needs to happen here down the stretch of the season. See you guys soon. Go Blue.